Stevie J from Glove Up or Shut Up Wrestling Observer and AngryMarks.com with your UFC on Fox 9 recap. And I'm going to start with the co-main event and the main event since they were the two most exciting fights of the whole card. So, a very fitting end to UFC tonight. And the co-main event was a ranking fight at bantamweight between Uriah Faber, the number 2, and Michael McDonald, the number 3. Things were already going Faber's way in the first round. He got a takedown about 15 seconds into the round and was pretty much dominating Michael McDonald on the ground from that point on. And McDonald would get back up. Faber would take him down again. He rocked him with a punch late in round 1 and was looking really good, but there was short time left, so he couldn't finish him or submit him. But that didn't change up his game plan in round 2 because he cracked Michael McDonald. I mean, just threw a big overhand right that walloped him, jumped on him immediately on the ground, went for the guillotine, and you know what? When Uriah Faber gets your neck and you're already rocked, you're either going to sleep or you're going to tap. And tap out he did. The official time was 3:22 of the second round. So props to Uriah Faber for once again proving why he is in the upper echelons of that weight class. And speaking of the upper echelons of a weight class, ain't nobody going to touch Demetrious Johnson for a while. I've been saying this. I'm going to keep saying this. He is pound for pound one of the best athletes in UFC. He deserves that. He deserves to be in the same ranks as John Jones, Cain Velasquez, all of the above. You know, I would have said GSP, but he just retired on Friday, so I guess we can't really consider him in the pound for pound, and I'm going to have to change my rankings on UFC.com accordingly since he is no longer an active fighter. Or maybe we'll just leave him in there if UFC leaves him in there, but I'm getting off the point. Anyway, Demetrious Johnson just destroyed Joseph Benavidez here. Nobody had ever stopped Joseph Benavidez before, but at 2:06 of the first round, he just threw a devastating right hand, dropped Benavidez. It was picture perfect. The slow motion on this thing was beautiful. He dropped him. He got 3 or 4 shots in on the ground before John McCarthy could rush in to shut it off, and he won the fight convincingly. The official time was indeed 2:08 of the first round. So, your winner and still UFC flyweight champion of the world is Mighty Mouse Demetrious Johnson. And now, here's the rest of the card. In the only fight exclusive to Facebook tonight, Altekin Ashkilik defeated Darren Ueniyama with a split decision, 30-27, 28-29, and 29-28. First televised fight on Fox Sports 1 was a lightweight bout between Relentless Roger Bowling and Abel Killer Trujillo. And Trujillo lived up to that nickname because he picked apart his opponent for the majority of the fight and then got a TKO at 135 of the second round, which was our last finish for a while to come because we had a lot of decisions that followed this. Sam Stout and Cody McKenzie had a lightweight bout. They went the 15 minutes, and Cody McKenzie just has a one trick that he does so well. That famous McKenzie team, but if he can't get it, then he's in trouble. And Sam Stout is a crafty veteran with great striking and was well ahead on the striking in the stat lines that they showed on the screen, like 58-21 on significant strikes at one point. So Stout won this handily, 30-27 across the board. Scott Jorgensen and Zach Funsize Makovsky. This was Jorgensen's first fight at flyweight, and he was previously ranked as high as, I believe, number 8 at bantamweight, but it didn't work out for him. Funsize is a naturally better, smaller fighter. Jorgensen might have been trained to cut too far to get down to it, but Funsize was taking him apart, and the final scores were all in favor of Makovsky. He got it 30-27 across the board. Jorgensen, I thought maybe won at least one of those rounds, but I'm not arguing with it because Makovsky won the fight on the whole. So whoever you want to score round 2 for, I still think Makovsky wins that fight. Pat Bam Bam Healy and the King Bobby Green, and Green was getting the better of Pat Healy throughout this fight. Healy just, I don't know what happened to him here. He just never put it in second gear, and he just was getting taken down and dominated, which, you know, I would expect Healy to be doing the takedowns and dominating. And Healy likes to turn fights into grinders, and he tried really hard to make this a grind, but Green got the better of him in every exchange. He was quicker to the punch. So 30-27 times 2 and 29-28 favoring King Bobby Green. Danny Last Call Castillo and Edson Barboza. And this was not a popular decision because Castillo was the hometown fighter from Team Alpha Male, and he actually really had Barboza in trouble early. He knocked him down in the first round and was jumping on him and trying to ground and pound it out, but I think he used up everything in his gas tank and didn't have anything left because Barboza took the second and third rounds. Now, my card, I gave a 10-8 to Castillo because he put a hurting on him in the first round, and I gave the second and third to Barboza 10-9, so that would have been a 28-28. But I knew the judges weren't going to do that. I knew it wasn't going to go that way on the scorecards, and I was right. They scored two 10-9s in favor of Barboza and a 10-9 in favor of Castillo, so he won 29-28 from 2 out of the 3 judges, and only one judge saw it the way I did, 28-28. So it was not a unanimous decision, it was a majority decision. But either way, Barboza wins the fight. We move on to Court McGee and Ryan LeFlare, which is notable for LeFlare taking another fight just a month after his last bout and still being undefeated in the octagon and undefeated as a whole after this bout because he got 29-28 across the board. McGee just epic failed. There's no other way to put it. You know, he probably should have had the better camp and been in better shape and been the better fighter, but LeFlare looked really fluid out there, got a lot of takedowns, and McGee would pop right back up and LeFlare would get him down again. And honestly, if you're the one doing the takedowns, even if your opponent gets right back up from them, you're still scoring some kind of points for getting a takedown. It's not like McGee was doing anything to him in kind, so this ultimately looked better for LeFlare. Not really that exciting of a fight, though. Mac Danzig and Joe Lozon opened the main card on Fox, and Danzig wore these trunks that said not for sale because he was fighting for himself to prove a point. Well, he may not be for hire. That may be the new logo on his trunks because Lozon got the better of him throughout this fight. It was easy to score it at the end, 30-27 for Lozon, and Danzig, he was just dripping blood everywhere. He was getting beat up pretty damn good with the time remaining in the third round. He was already split open, and he was dripping blood everywhere when he tried to get out of an armbar attempt. And, there were some good sweeps and reversals. I wouldn't say Danzig was ever completely out of the fight, but Lozon did a significant amount of damage to him, and it was written all over his face. As was Chad Money Mendez and Nick Lentz, because Lentz, I mean, yeah, he deserves to be ranked in the top 10 of featherweights, but Mendez apparently was fighting the flu when he took this fight. So the fact that he was able to take down Lentz repeatedly after already beating him up in the first round, I say more power to the guy, proving that he's still the number 1 ranked featherweight when he goes out there fighting the flu and still dominates a guy for 3 rounds. Even if it's all takedowns, you got to give Chad Money Mendez his respect. The judges certainly did. They scored it 30-27 times 2 and 29-28. The other 2 fights you already know about. That was Faber and McDonald and DJ versus Benavidez. So that's the end of this recap. Stevie J signing off.